I propose that the Occupy movement rebrand itself as the Bypass movement. And instead of petitioning our governments, corporations, and other elite power structures for change and redress, bypass them completely and work to create new systems of societal organization that will render them obsolete. Hi there. My name is Gary Lachance. I'm the founder of the Decentralized Dance Party and Decentralized Community Movements, and a tireless advocate of open source and decentralization. And I want to discuss how I believe they should serve as catalysts for the second phase of the Occupy movement. The following is an updated and revised version of the speech I gave last October at the inaugural Occupy rally in my hometown of Vancouver, BC. Thanks for listening. History has proven that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So logic decrees that we must never allow power to become concentrated in the hands of the few, for this can only lead to tyranny and destruction. In order to put an end to this, our global power structures must be decentralized, and radical transparency implemented in those that remain. We can do this. We have the technology. Some hold the opinion that capitalism is to blame for the financial crisis and many of the woes currently plaguing our societies. I strongly disagree. The problems we currently witness, the wars, the pollution, the inequalities, these are the global fallout from the ever-expanding blight upon our lives that is crony capitalism, aka corporatism. Corporatism is the collusion between private corporate interests and monolithic state power. Some call this fascism. It is an insidious global problem affecting all citizens of the world. Corporatism has allowed a small number of people to accumulate and maintain a perverse concentration of wealth and power. Corporatism enables them to manipulate our monetary systems, subvert our legal systems, destroy the environment, exploit the population, and drag millions of us into wars without end. But the manipulation and exploitation of the many by the few has been a constant since the dawn of civilization, even before the advent of corporations. This is because our power structures have always been centralized. But that no longer has to be the case, because we now have the technology to turn everything on its head. I believe wholeheartedly that open source and decentralization are the wave of the future, and that they can be successfully applied to all aspects of society. They can be used to revolutionize the fields of education, medicine, law, manufacturing, environmental protection, foreign aid, and social services. And perhaps most importantly, usher in a new era of open monetary systems. We can do this. We have the technology. The present models are corrupted, unsustainable, and obsolete. Around the world, we are witnessing the beginning of their end, the beginning of the long process of taking power away from the few and returning it to the many. But in order to prevail in this age of global revolution, we must recognize our true enemy. Our fight is not against the police. Our fight is not against corporations. Our fight is not against rich people. Our fight is against the notion that we don't have the power to bypass the system and organize ourselves right now to create the kind of world we want to live in. We must join together and become the change we want to see, not beg those in power to create it for us. This is the bypass movement. The accomplishments of Occupy are truly incredible. Through your hard work and sacrifice, the injustices inherent in our system have been brought to the forefront of our global discourse. And you have conclusively proven that millions worldwide are still willing to stand up and fight for justice and freedom from repression. But on this, Occupy's 1-year anniversary, I propose a drastic shift in tactics and ideology. I propose that the Occupy movement rebrand itself as the Bypass movement. And instead of petitioning our governments, corporations, and other elite power structures for change and redress, bypass them completely, and work to create new systems of societal organization that will render them obsolete. By adopting the principles of decentralization and open source, we can stop fighting and protesting and facilitate a peaceful transition towards the creation of autonomous communities where we are all responsible for each other and where we have the authority to help one another. And as these new systems of societal organizations rise, our dependence on our governments to regulate and oversee us will diminish further and further, along with the attendant risks of large-scale corruption and its effect upon our lives. This revolution in self-reliance and radical collective empowerment will eventually remove the need for any governmental structures whatsoever and all of the associated problems. Some have argued that Occupy's one demand should be to get money out of politics, but this is impossible until we eliminate politics altogether. We can do this. We have the technology. Instead of taking to the streets and battling tuition hikes, we should be working together to create and share open educational tools that will grant anyone anywhere access to a quality education at minimal cost. Local, decentralized food production and open farmer collectives have the power to enable sustainable food production and reduce our dependence on predatory corporate monopolies. Open source hardware and 3D printing technologies have the power to localize and revolutionize manufacturing. Incredible examples include the open source ecology project and the social stereo. And although it is largely unrecognized and unheralded, decentralized marketplaces like Craigslist and Kijiji have diverted trillions of items from landfills and are perhaps the most efficient and effective environmental movements in existence today. Instead of complaining about centralized corporate media, we should embrace open media platforms like social networking, live streaming, and online video sharing services in order to transform the media landscape of the future. The Decentralized Community Initiative, which I founded, applies open source principles to long-standing social problems, both locally and globally. And crowdfunding, the revolutionary new means of decentralized fundraising, offers a way to finance it all. Bitcoin, the world's first decentralized monetary systems, credit unions, and local community currencies also have the power to bypass Wall Street completely. And open source software will connect us to enable it all. The means to create new, sustainable societies based on inspiration, community, and voluntary cooperation, rather than force, fear, and coercion, are within our grasp and must be seized upon. To demand something of someone else is to assume that they have power over you and ultimately to grant them power over you. It's time to stop fighting the institutions of the past, bypass them completely, and occupy the future. What is our one demand? Our one demand must be that we stop making demands and come together right now to become the change we want to see. We can do this. We have the technology. Thank you.